Some of us might be sacrificing our future for comfort. Well, these are not my words, but this came from Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google, who boldly claims that the tech giant Google prioritized work-life balance over winning the AI race.
Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning.
Imagine a world where your career stagnates because you chose to leave work early or work from home instead of pushing boundaries.
And the reason startups work is because the people work like hell. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but the fact of the matter is if you all leave the university and go found a company, you're not going to let people work from home and only come in one day a week if you want to compete against the other startups.
This is not just Google, it's a wake-up call for all of us. Now, I'm all for mental health, but at the end of the day, if you are competing for a cutting-edge technology, there needs to be some aggression. Are you comfortable in your job? Are you setting for mediocrity while others are hustling to innovate? Embracing remote work has led to disconnect and isolation among the teams. Are you missing out on the spontaneous ideas that come from face-to-face interactions? In a world where competition is fierce, can we afford to let our creativity suffer? The fear of being left behind is real, and if we don't find the right balance, we could be sacrificing our potential. So ask yourself, is your remote work setup truly beneficial to you, or is it a barrier to your success? Today we are diving deep into an eye-opening interview with Eric Schmidt, the former CEO of Google. He spilled the beans on some critical insights on why Google lost the AI race to OpenAI. The interview was so hard-hitting that it had to be taken down within a few hours of it being released. But I've been able to get that for you, and not just that, I'm also going over top 10 highlights of the interview so that you don't only get to know what he meant, but that also challenges you with a thought-provoking question on every highlight. I urge you to use the comment box today and answer as many questions as you can to share your perspective about this whole situation. So let's get started. The first highlight of the interview was Eric speaking about the culture of innovation. Let's take a listen.
Explanation for what's going on there.
I'm no longer a Google employee.
Yes.
In the spirit of full disclosure, Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning.
So Smith's assertion here is striking. He seems to be suggesting that Google's emphasis on work-life balance has led to a culture of complacency. While it's essential to maintain a healthy work environment, can it come at a cost of innovation? Now consider an example of Kodak, the company that we all know was once a leader in photography. They had the technology to transition into digital, but chose to stick with their traditional business model. The failure to innovate ultimately led to their downfall. So the food for thought here and the question for you is, what do you think is more important for innovation, comfort or challenge? Should companies prioritize employee satisfaction over aggressive competition? Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, let's move to the second highlight of the interview. Let's look at another comment from Schmidt.
And the reason startups work is because the people work like hell. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but the fact of the matter is if you all leave the university and go found a company, you're not going to let people work from home and only come in one day a week if you want to compete against the other startups.
When in the early days of Google, Microsoft was like that.
Exactly.
He was indeed quite blunt here. So he critiques that remote work culture has become prevalent, especially post-pandemic. He argues that the startups, which often require intense collaboration and commitment, are at an advantage over large companies like Google that allow more flexible arrangements. Take Twitter for another instance. Their remote-first approach has allowed them to tap into a global talent pool, but it has also led to challenges in team cohesion and communication. So here's another food for thought for you. Is remote work a boon or a bane for creativity in tech companies? How can companies balance flexibility with the need for collaboration? Let me know what you think. Now let's go back to the review again and look at the third highlight of this video that Schmidt mentioned.
We're in a period of maximum growth, maximum gain. So, and also it takes crazy ideas. Like when Microsoft did the OpenAI deal, I thought that was the stupidest idea I'd ever heard. Outsourcing essentially your AI leadership to OpenAI and Sam and his team. I mean, that's insane. Nobody would do that at Microsoft or anywhere else. And yet today, they're on their way to being the most valuable company. They're certainly head-to-head in Apple. Apple does not have a good AI solution, and it looks like they made it work.
Schmidt emphasizes that despite Google's early lead in AI, they missed critical opportunities to innovate rapidly. Doesn't this remind you of IBM's Watson, which was initially hailed as a groundbreaking artificial intelligence tool, but ultimately fell short due to the lack of focus and direction? Imagine if Google had pursued a more aggressive strategy in artificial intelligence development, could they have maintained their leadership? So that begs the question, what opportunities do you think tech companies who adopt a flexible approach and lack an aggressive approach towards AI development lose out on? Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, let's keep it moving. The fourth highlight. Let's listen to Eric.
There's a long history of, in my industry, our industry, I guess, of companies winning in a way and really dominating a space and not making the next transition. It's very well documented. And I think that the truth is founders are special. The founders need to be in charge. The founders are difficult to work with. They push people hard.
Here, Schmidt contrasts the hustle of startups with the more relaxed environment at Google. This startup mentality is crucial for rapid innovation and adaptability, he argues. Look at SpaceX, for example. Their culture of urgency and innovation has allowed them to disrupt the aerospace industry. They embrace failure as a learning opportunity, which is a stark contrast to more cautious approach of larger corporations. So the food for thought here is, can large companies adopt a startup mentality, or is it too late in the game for them to change? Let's keep it moving and look at the other things that Schmidt said.
As much as we can dislike Elon's personal behavior, look at what he gets out of people. I had dinner with him, and he was flying. I was in Montana. He was flying that night at 10 p.m. to have a meeting at midnight with X.AI. Right? Think about it. I was in Taiwan, different country, different culture, and they said that, and this is TSMC, who I'm very impressed with, and they have a rule that the starting PhDs coming out of they're good physicists, work in the factory on the basement floor. Now, can you imagine getting American physicists to do that? The PhDs? Highly unlikely. Different work ethic. And the problem here, the reason I'm being so harsh about work is that these are systems which have network effects. So time matters a lot. And in most businesses, time doesn't matter that much. Right? You have lots of time. You know, Coke and Pepsi will still be around, and the fight between Coke and Pepsi will continue to go along, and it's all glacial, right? When I dealt with telcos, the typical telco deal would take 18 months to sign, right? There's no reason to take 18 months to do anything. Get it done. It's just, we're in a period of maximum growth, maximum gain. So
here Schmidt highlights the importance of leadership in fostering a culture of innovation. Well, we talk about a bunch of leadership strategies on this channel. Effective leaders not only set the vision, but also inspire their teams to pursue it relentlessly. Take Satya Nadella, for example. At Microsoft, his leadership has transformed the company's culture, emphasizing collaboration and innovation, leading to a resurgence in their cloud business. So, the food for thought here is, what qualities do you think make an effective leader in tech? Is it charisma, vision, or really something else? Let me know what you think. Now let's move to the sixth highlight of Schmidt's interview, that silos within large organizations can hinder progress. When teams operate in isolation, they miss out on valuable insights and collaboration opportunities. Consider how Google itself has faced criticism for its internal divisions. However, in contrast, companies like Atlassian have built their success on promoting cross-team collaboration, which has led to innovative products like Jira and Trello. So the real big question here is, how can companies break down silos to foster better collaboration? What structures can be put in place to encourage teamwork? Let me know what you think. Now for the seventh highlight of the interview. Schmidt emphasizes the need for speed in AI development. In a landscape where advancements are happening daily, companies that hesitate risk lose their competitive edge. Look at OpenAI, which has rapidly developed tools like ChatGPT and DALL-E. Their ability to innovate quickly has forced competitions to react and adapt. So here is the question I have for you. Is the pace of AI development sustainable, or will it lead to burnout among teams? How can companies maintain momentum without sacrificing quality? Let me know what you think while we move to the next highlight of Eric's interview. All right, his point about agility is vital in today's tech landscape. Companies must be ready to adapt to new information and changing markets. Take Netflix, for example, which transitioned from DVD rentals to streaming services. Their ability to pivot has allowed them to stay ahead of the curve. While Blockbuster, another competitor of Netflix, which failed to adapt, is now nothing more than a cautionary tale. So the food for thought here is, what does agility look like in a large organization? Can established companies learn to pivot as quickly as startups? I'd look forward to your perspective on that. Let's look at the ninth highlight from the interview.
How can we stop AI from influencing public opinion, misinformation, especially during the upcoming election? What are the short and long-term solutions from?
Most of the misinformation in this upcoming election and globally will be on social media. And the social media companies are not organized well enough to police it. If you look at TikTok, for example, there are lots of accusations that TikTok is favoring one kind of misinformation over another. And there are many people who claim without proof that I'm aware of that the Chinese are forcing them to do it. I think we have a mess here. And the country's going to have to, that may be an impossible challenge for the US. But the fact that somebody told you something does not mean that it's true.
Well, could it go too far the other way, that there's things that really are true and nobody believes anymore? You get, some people call it epistemological crisis, that now, Elon says, no, I never did that. Prove it.
Well, let's use Donald Trump.
Okay.
Look, I think we have a trust problem in our society that can fail. I think that the greatest threat to democracy is misinformation, because we're going to get really good at it.
All right, Schmidt raises an important point about the ethical implications of AI development. As companies race to innovate, they must also consider the societal impacts of their technologies. Look at the backlash faced by Facebook, or Meta as we know it, regarding the data privacy issues. Ethical missteps can lead to significant reputational damage and loss of trust. Remember the grilling Zuckerberg had to face at the Senate? So the question here is, how can companies balance innovation with ethical responsibility? What framework should be in place to ensure ethical AI development? Cool, now for the last highlight of Schmidt's interview was the vision of AI. So finally, Schmidt shares his vision for AI as a tool to augment human potential, and I couldn't agree more. AI is not necessarily going to replace you, but the people who run AI are for sure going to replace you in future. So think about that. Companies are not going to hire AI tools, they are going to hire people who know and who are savvy running these tools. Consider how AI is being used in diagnostics. Companies like Zebra Medical Vision are leveraging AI to analyze medical images, helping doctors make more accurate decisions faster. So the food for thought here is, what role do you think AI should play in our future? Should it be a partner or just a replacement? So there you have it, 10 key insights from Eric Schmidt's interview that shed light on why Google lost the AI race to OpenAI. And today we've asked important questions about innovation, culture, and the future of the technology. I want to hear your thoughts. Which insight resonated with you the most, and what's your take on that? Also, what do you think is the future of AI? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe the channel for more such engaging content. Keep questioning, keep innovating, and keep striving to be the learner.